Hey folks, welcome to episode 4 of my designer diary. My name is Kurt, aka the Vitruvian gamer, and today I'm having a bad hair day because it's raining outside and I had to go to the shop earlier today through the rain, and then my hair does all these fluffy kind of things. But that's not what you're here for. You're here, I hope, because you're interested in my game design or my attempts of game design. And today I will talk a little bit more about the design I pitched last episode, and that's this Photo Safari game. By the way, I saw on Board Game Geek there's already a game called Photo Safari. So I'm looking for a nice name for this game. So if you have any ideas about that, please let me know. But the working title is still Photo Safari because, well, it's a game about taking pictures on a safari. Okay? So, what have I been doing since last video? Well, I will show you later here on the table. I've done... I made a new prototype of the board, printed on a big paper with a few colors on it. At least it's not on black anymore, so it will be much clearer today. And I added two things to the game, which I will tell you later, just so there is a little bit more things to consider during the game to score points. Previously it was only whoever got to the finish first got some bonus points, and then you could score the points by taking pictures of animals and scoring point tokens that way. But now I have added two more ways to score points. Okay, but before I start, I would like to thank Vincent 10 again, because Vincent is probably my most loyal viewer on my channel. Thank you for that. And he commented on my previous video, and he commented in a big way because it was lots of text. I was really surprised and happily surprised, of course. And he gave me some recommendations, some ideas about the question I had about with the movement, and questions I had about animal powers. So I have this comment here on my tablet. So let's see what he wrote. He said about the movement, what about a number of vacancies, like in Tokaido? If you know Tokaido, each place has a certain number of players that can enter that square. And well, I was quite interested, so I did something with that. I gave every square, I gave it a number, and that number is total players that can be on that space together at one time. So I will show you that in a bit. So I did that, so that was a good idea, just to solve it that way. And well, he had some ideas about powers for the animals, for rules which you can play. He had about baboons. He had some ideas of swapping cards, and he gave some cool thematic ideas to it as well. So I'm thinking about that as well. Now I have these generic cards with all the same pictures. Probably in the future they will have pictures of those animals still, but have a title which added a little bit more flair to the theme, to the action of the card. So he said to think playful. He said, for example, baboons could break into your car because, well, they're a menace, of course, and that way you have to change some cards you have in your hand. So that was nice. Then he said about giraffes, those, because they have long necks, they are quite tall, they would allow you to view or to watch the top cards of the deck. Cheetahs, he said, could allow you to draw multiple cards and making chains with the cards. Elephants with roadblocks because, well, they're big, of course. lions, because they are, of course, the boss in the jungle or in the savannah. They could make other players discard cards or things like that. And well, what more did we had? Well, that was about the ideas he had. He had probably more than it. It was a very, very long comment, but great. So I worked with those comments, with those ideas, and well, let me show you what got out of that, and I will take you here to the table and let's see what happened in the meanwhile. So join me at the table. So first thing you'll notice is I have a new, more colorful, more bright and more clear board. Well, it's just a piece of paper, printed it at work. Normally I'm not allowed to do so, but I asked if I could do it once. Problem is this board is now huge, very big. It was this or it was too small, so I took the big thing to do. So it's way much bigger than it should be, especially in the center. As you can see, cards should be here, so this can get a lot smaller, and especially here with the tokens, this circle, well, they just have to be the size of the tokens themselves. So those things could be very much smaller, and as is this. Now I am using these pawns to do these 2 tracks, which are new tracks. I'll explain in a bit, but in the future they just will have tokens as well in the player colors, but they can be lots smaller than they are now as well. So that's what changed. I made a board which is much clearer, and as you can see, I put numbers next to every place you can enter, and that's the number of players that can be there at one moment. So what else is new? Alright, well, this, so I finally had some more sleeves. I ordered them. So this looks like a huge stack of cards. Actually there are 102 cards at this moment. But because of the sleeves, and I put my old Magic cards behind them, they are quite buff, and the pile is quite big. If they are real cards without sleeves, it would be less, of course. But that's what I've changed as well. I reprinted them all, by the way, and I put the number a little bit more clear, but also I've put their powers below, not in just handwriting, but I did it on the computer. And as you can see, it's Dutch, these cards, because I will do some playtesting pretty soon, and when I playtest, I play with people who speak Dutch, of course. What I did as well was to put these icons before of the rule or the action. So I have some different kinds of icons for this prototype. This clock symbol means this is a rule or an ability that as soon as it's the active card in the cheetah stack, for this example, this is active all the time. So this does not have to be activated, but it's just a feature that is active while it's down there as the top card. You have other cards like this elephant here, which has this lightning bolt symbol, and that means that this happens whenever a player ends their movement on elephant space. So for this example, this one, if you end your movement on this space, the stampede, which is still this little rhino fellow of another game. So then that fellow is going to move 2 spaces towards the players. So it goes counterclockwise, and when it hits one of the players, it does something bad. What else did I have of icons? Let me see if I can find one. I should have prepare this better. Okay, so this here, we have this light bulb symbol. So this means that this happens in the planning phase or the draw phase. And this one says, for example, the cheetah, you can play 2 cards in your planning phase. So instead of playing just 1 out of your hand, you can play 2. And after everyone has revealed their cards, you can choose which one of the 2 you activate. And you can do this when you start your planning phase on a space with a cheetah. And something else, I think the last new thing I've done to the cards is I added some double cameras on in the stack. So these cards might be useful because I think every animal has these abilities that can come into play, that you need 2 cameras to take a picture of that specific kind of animal. And with these you only need 1 card, otherwise you have to have 2 cameras in hand, but this counts as 2 cameras. Alright, that's the changes in the cards. Let's go to the board again. So what do we have here? These 2 tracks. So earlier on, and I just noticed that I have forgotten to put it on the new one. So the first player to finish, or people who got finished behind the finish line, would get 10 points, and it will go down to 1 point, and if you are way behind, you will not get any points. So you would score by your position at the end of the game, and you would score points at the end of the game from your point tokens, which go from 1 to 9 for each animal. So that did not change, but I've been thinking about that, and I thought that might be too little ways to score points. It would be a little bit boring, maybe, I'm not sure. So I added these 2 tracks, and as you can see, this one has a picture of this camera, and that one has this book symbol. So what do those mean? Well, the idea is that every time you take a picture of an animal, you get these tokens from it, but you also will advance 1 on the track for each time you take a picture. So that means at the end of the game, all people have taken pictures. The guy or girl who took the most pictures will score X bonus points, and the 2nd place, 3rd place and 4th place as well. So it's good to try to take a lot of pictures. So that's one thing I've done. So it gives you a more reason to take pictures. And the other thing is, because I was thinking some players would just focus on taking pictures or trying to get to the finish as fast as possible, this track, you advance on this track every time you put down a new rule on the table, and that should stimulate there being more rules changes on the board. And well, that way players can also score points. So guy or girl who has made the most rule changes in the game gets the most bonus points for that. So that were the new ideas. I have not play tested it yet. I should be doing that tonight at my game group. I hope it will happen, and I hope I get all great feedback, and so I can make changes where needed. And yeah, that's it. So this is for 4 players. This setup is for 4 players. I have been thinking about a 2-player game because, of course, when playing only with 2 players, the board would be very open. It would not be very tight, so players will not be getting in each other's way. There's only 1 player you have to keep an eye on with points and with these tracks. So I'm thinking about for 2 players and maybe even for 3 players, there will be some kind of a dummy player system. I'm still working on that, but it will be quite easy. For example, if you have 2 players, there will be a 3rd, maybe even 4th dummy player, and each turn they reveal 3 cards, 1 by 1. So, for example, if this green ghost player or dummy player is on this lion field. In the planning phase, players will reveal the top card. If it is a lion, then they will play this card. Well, this was very coincidentally a lion, but let's say it was not a lion and he draws a camera. Well, if he draws a camera, the dummy player will play that camera and will take a picture. So the dummy player would advance here on the track. But let's take another example. Well, here he would take an elephant, which would do nothing for him because he's on a lion space. So we will turn a second one, and that's a car. And then I'm thinking about, am I going to do the car or am I going to draw the third card as well? Well, this is a card as well. And play one of these two. I'm not sure. I think I will activate the first playable card. And so in this example, he will advance 3 spaces. So that would be the dummy player. Just to closen up the board, to tighten up the points, to make it more exciting on its tracks. So you have to keep an eye on these dummy players as well, because they can steal away points from you. And well, that's about it, I guess. So not that much has changed. I added these 2 things. I added that each space can only have a certain number of players here. What else do I have? Well, these green squares where there are no animals, there are kind of resting places or whatever. So on this space, I'm thinking about making these wild spaces. So on this space you can play a new rule on the board from any creature, from any animal, but you still need to be on the right space to take a picture. So I might open that a little bit more with these spaces, so there are even more chances to change the rules during the gameplay. So that's what I'm thinking about. So if you have a few comments on this new part of the game, feel free to put them below, like Vincent did last time. And well, I hope this game can continue to grow. I hope to have some more information for you about the playtest in the next episode. And well, I thank you all for watching this one. And I see you guys and girls in the future. Bye bye.